If you're thinking about moving to Barbados or you just got here, these are things you should definitely not do. The reason I'm making this video is because some of these things could land you in jail. You could go to a prison for some of these things, and the others just for your safety. Please don't do them. Please don't do them. Anyway, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Barbados Walker. In this video, I'm going to be going through 10 things you should definitely not do in Barbados. Well, some of them technically you could toe the line, but you have to be very careful because it's for your own safety. So the first one, this one is ridiculous, but I still see people falling for this thing on the internet, and there have been some cases where people were actually caught at the airport. Don't be ridiculous. What is number one? Don't come with weed. Oh my goodness. I don't know what ads you're watching and you're thinking that, oh, in the Caribbean, everybody just smokes and they get high and they do some reggae and they're into the groove and into the music. Yeah, right. And so everybody just do what they want and they just go with the flow so you can do whatever you want. No. Barbados is a civilized country with real laws, and the government doesn't want everybody being high and unproductive and being addicted and putting an unnecessary burden on the healthcare system. So, allowing people to just come into the airport is counterproductive if you want to stop the drug problem. If you want your country to not have a drug problem, you will obviously have laws against people coming into your country with drugs, with weed. So I don't know what you heard from the country you're coming from, but Barbados is not just a random island in the Caribbean where people smoke and drink and get high and listen to reggae all day long. No, it's a civilized nation. And like every civilized nation, drugs are illegal. So if you are planning on coming with weed, leave it in your country. Don't bring it here. You could get arrested. You will get arrested at the airport. You will get into trouble, and it's not going to be funny. You can't joke about it to the people who will be arresting you. So if you didn't know, now you know. None of that. None of that. The second one is don't wear camouflage clothing. Don't wear camouflage clothing in Barbados. Now, if you're coming from a country where it's already illegal to wear camouflage clothing, you don't have to worry about this because you're already used to it. You don't wear it and that's it. But if you're coming from a country where it's legal, you can wear whatever kind of clothes you want, including camouflage clothing, then you might not understand why it is illegal in Barbados. I mean, from where you're coming from is just a piece of clothing, right? But there are two things that you need to think about, and once you understand that, you understand why Barbados took this I will call it the safe route of making it illegal to wear camouflage clothing. The first one is it is illegal to impersonate a law enforcement officer. Right? And one of the easiest ways to impersonate a police officer or a military man is to wear their attire. So if you're wearing their attire or you're wearing any paraphernalia of military people or law enforcement, it's very easy for you to impersonate them and take advantage of unsuspecting citizens. So in order to avoid that completely, if you're not wearing the uniform, it is much harder for you to impersonate law enforcement. The second one is even more understandable, is that even if you're not actively trying to impersonate law enforcement, if you're wearing their clothes, if you're wearing camouflage, other people may think that you're law enforcement, and so you may have undue advantage over them. It's like in hospitals, right? Only the doctors and the medical laboratory people or people who have some medical profession who work there are allowed to wear lab coats in the hospital. Why? Because if a random person is wearing lab coats in the hospital, then that person will have some kind of authority over unsuspecting patients, and that person can cause a lot of harm. You can tell people what medication they should be taking, or what you can discharge people, and so you can make decisions that will be very bad for patients, basically, right? So if in the hospital you can understand that wearing a lab coat puts you in a position to do a lot of harm if you're not a medical doctor, then in the same way, wearing camouflage clothing puts you in that same position in society among other civilians. So I think that this is one of those rules that was just to be safe, just so we don't have this problem at all, let's just eliminate it to begin with, right? So if you want to impersonate a law enforcement officer, police officer, military personnel, or whatever, it's going to be much harder for you because you will have to find a way to prove it some other way other than just people assuming that you're wearing the uniform, therefore you are legit. Okay, so that is that. Number 3. So number 1, do not come with drugs, don't come with weed, don't come with whatever. Number 2, don't wear camouflage clothing. Number 3, cooperate with law enforcement. Cooperate with the police. Cooperate with the soldiers. Cooperate with these people. Why am I saying this? Is that a lot of people that come into Barbados come from one of 2 types of countries, right? Generally speaking, you're going to come from 3 types of countries. The one of those kind of countries is everything works. The police are reasonable people. They're doing their job. Everything is the way it's supposed to be in a civilized society. That is type 1 country. Type 2 country is the police use brutality. They use brutality to control the population. They overexert their authority. They use excessive force on the people. If you come from that kind of country, you are going to be afraid of the police. So anytime you have police people coming near you or asking you questions, you're always thinking about how you can escape or something like that, right? There is the other type of country, type 3 country, which is similar to type 2 country. And this one is that the police are always looking for a way to abuse the rights of citizens and take advantage of them. And so many times people have to challenge the police and let them know that they know their rights. I know my rights. You can't tell me to do this. You can't tell me to do that. Why are you doing this? Where is your warrant? What justification do you have? And they're always very antagonistic towards the police or against the police. If you come from type 2 or type 3 countries and you're coming into Barbados, I want you to know that Barbados is a type 1 country. Barbados is a country where the country works. The police do their job and they just want to do their job like every other person in every other field. Get their job done and get over with it, right? What is the primary job of a police officer? To prevent crime. It's not to book people, it's not to arrest people, it's not to shoot people, it's not to jail people, it's not to harass people. That is not it. The primary objective of a police officer is to prevent crime. So anytime a police officer is interacting with a civilian, and he's not just talking with the civilian like he's talking in his capacity as a police officer, it's going to be something related to crime prevention. right? So maybe you're doing something that could get you in trouble. A police officer is going to approach you and he's going to talk to you. Maybe there is someone else who is doing something and that is going to get you in trouble. A police officer may approach you. Maybe there are certain things you need to know about your current situation. Maybe something about your car or something about your headlights or something about the way you are driving is going to cause problems on the road or with you in the future or whatever. Police officer is going to approach you. They're going to talk with you about it. Their job is to prevent crime. So when a police officer comes to you and they're talking with you, relax. Talk with them. Let them understand that you understand, that they understand that you guys are working together to prevent crime. That's the only thing you are expected to do. You're not there to challenge them, insult them, shout at them, escape from them, try to outrun them. No, just work with them. If they say, "Where's your driver's license?" just give them your driver's license. If they ask you about insurance, just give them insurance. If you were driving on the road and they flagged you down, they said you should stop, just stop and cooperate with them. They're not going to harm you. They're not going to try to bully you or harass you. That's not what they're going to do. You can relax. Okay? Relax. I know because I have lived in these kind of countries. So I understand what it's like to be in a type 2 or type 3 country, but this is not one of them, right? And the reason I'm telling you this is that when you exhibit the kind of behavior that civilians in type 2 and type 3 countries exhibit, you actually look suspicious to the police. You actually look like you're doing something wrong, like you have something to hide, like you are intending to commit crime. And that is the problem. So you start to look suspicious. The police start to ask more questions and start to turn on their investigative mode. And then you feel like, okay, I was right the whole time. I mean, look at all the questions he's asking me. He's not asking all these people the same questions. And he's doing it's just because I'm black, it's because I'm white, it's because I'm Spanish, it's because I'm African, it's because I'm this, I'm that. And you start to come up with so many reasons. But it's all because in the beginning when they approached you, you behaved like somebody who had something to hide, somebody who was antagonizing them. All right? So cooperate with law enforcement. Number 1, don't come with weed. Number 2, don't wear camo. Number 3, cooperate with law enforcement. Great. Number 4, do not disturb turtles. Don't disturb their young. Don't disturb their nests. Don't go near their eggs. If you see turtles, turn the other way. That's one of the best ways I can put it, right? Because you may go to some beach. This is not at every beach, and it's many of the popular beaches you're not going to encounter this actually. But you may go to some secluded parts of the island, maybe when you're on your adventure, or maybe when you're following some locals and you're going to different places or whatever, you may come across turtles' nests. Do not disturb them, right? There are laws against them because many of them are endangered, and if you disturb them, you might disrupt their reproduction, their migration, their whatever, and then it will make them even more endangered. If you disturb them and law enforcement finds out, you're going to get in serious trouble. Okay? So they are one of those protected species. Don't mess with them. Let them do their own thing. They're beautiful to look at. If you go to some, what do you call this, underwater tour guide things? I don't know what, diving diving places, places you do underwater stuff, sports, activities, whatever. If you go to one of these places, they may take you to swim around some places where you can see some nice fish and some turtles will be swimming and all of those things. Fantastic. But don't go there and try to be grabbing them and touching them, and that's just wrong, right? Don't do all of that. Just observe and be happy. Allow them in their natural habitat. It's actually illegal. This is not just friendly advice, but it's actually illegal to mess with turtles in Barbados. So don't do it. All right? Beautiful. So, number 5, don't feed the wildlife. Wildlife, don't feed them. Let me give you an example. If you go to a place like the Walk, or you go somewhere on the beach or whatever, somewhere in Bridgetown, for example, you may notice that there are some blackbirds or some pigeons or some monkeys. You may see some monkeys depending on what part of the island you're on. You may see different kinds of wild animals, parrots, whatever. Animals in the wild just doing their own thing. Don't feed them. Don't throw breadcrumbs. Don't pour rice for the birds. Don't do any of that. Why? Because they actually start harassing people in that area after a while, right? They get very confident, very bold, very aggressive, and they start harassing people. And that is why sometimes when you go to all these restaurants or places that have outdoor eating seats where you can sit down and eat outdoors and just observe nature and whatever, you may see some signs saying don't feed the wildlife, right? Don't feed the wildlife. Why is that? If you sit down there and you throw breadcrumbs there and the birds eat, or you see a chicken with a tiny chick passing and you pour some rice or whatever and they eat it, they start to get more aggressive. So they start disturbing everybody there, and that place becomes unconducive. It becomes impossible for people to eat there because then birds start flying into the place, jumping onto tables and all of those things. I once went to a place where they didn't have the sign. It was a place in, I think it was St. Thomas, somewhere in St. Thomas, and they didn't have a sign. And like a few months later, they had to put the sign because people kept feeding the blackbirds, and the blackbirds became so aggressive that nobody could sit outside and eat anymore. They became that aggressive. So they had to put the sign, don't feed the wildlife, and then over time, the birds stopped overreacting and then people could start eating outdoors again. It's worse with pigeons, with monkeys, because there are so many of them, right? And with monkeys, they are bigger. and an aggressive monkey is not something you want to deal with. So even though it looks like, it's such a nice bird and it's such a pretty bird with a young chick, or it's such a nice monkey with a baby monkey, let me just give them a snack or something to eat. Don't be deceived. They are well fed. They are all well fed. And that is why they have the energy to fly around and jump around. They don't need your food to be alive. They're eating well. None of them are skinny. They're all well fed. So don't do it, right? So this one is not, in many places, it's not exactly illegal. I mean, if you go to a wildlife, if you go to one of these wildlife sanctuaries or these places, I'm forgetting the names. Sanctuary, wildlife sanctuary, is that what it's called? But if you go to one of these places and you start feeding them, there it might be more illegal than everywhere else because you are training them to behave in a way that is not conducive for the kind of environment that they're in, right? But generally, this is just social norms. If you feed the wildlife, you will notice people staring at you like, what are you doing? You're training them to attack us in the near future. Don't do that. Okay? So if you come to Barbados, you see some birds looking, they're just helpless. They just need some food or a little snack, couldn't hurt. Don't do it. If you finish eating and there's some grains of rice that poured on your table, maybe when you were moving your plate or whatever, just clean it up and put it in the dustbin so that you don't encourage birds to start jumping on tables looking for crumbs. Okay? So that's generally that. So let me rehearse. Don't come with weed. Don't wear camel. Cooperate with the law enforcement. Don't disturb turtles' nests and young. Don't feed the wildlife. They don't need it. Okay, number 6. Number 6 is like 2 in 1, and it's generally about beach safety. There are some times during the year, especially during the hurricane season, hurricane season, where if you're following the meteorological services, they are going to be putting out announcements saying, okay, the beach is going to be very aggressive during this period, and we advise that you shouldn't swim. There's going to be flooding. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. When you see signs like that, please obey them, right? There's some people who like the thrill and they like to chase adrenaline and they like to be all macho. And when the seas are raging and there's a hurricane coming, they are running to the beach with their surfboards and they want to surf on hurricane waves. Please don't do that, right? You're going to get injured. You're going to get drowned. Don't do it. Just don't do it. There are places that you can go in Barbados that have nice waves for surfing. If you go to the East Coast and you like surfing, there are some places where the waves are very rough. They're rough for swimming, but they're perfect for surfers because surfers like big waves, right? But during those times where the government is saying avoid the beaches, please avoid the beaches. That is not the time to surf at the beaches. Okay? All right. But the second one, this one is less known. There are actually some strange trees. I call them strange because until I came to Barbados, I'd never seen trees like that. But they're poisonous and some of them cause blisters. So some locals will tell you that if you even stand under their shade and their leaves touch you, it could be a problem, right? So this is how I came to recognize these trees. First of all, they're not everywhere, so you don't have to be avoiding every tree in Barbados. They are very clearly marked. That is the first thing you will notice. If you go to a beach somewhere or if you're in a place and you're walking around and such a tree exists, it's going to be very clearly marked. If you don't notice the mark, maybe you were looking at the beautiful sky or you were walking with your head down or you were pressing your phone and you don't notice the sign telling you what kind of tree it is, you will usually hear a local tell you to avoid the tree. This has happened to me twice. A local is going to tell you, you shouldn't stand under that tree. If a local tells you not to stand under a tree, please do not argue with them. Just move away. Just move away. I've seen some people, there was a time that I was told not to stand under a tree, but I've seen some people, they'll be like, but why? It's such a beautiful tree. I just want to take a picture with it. No, it's not a beautiful tree. Don't take a picture with it. Avoid it. Because when you start itching and you start getting blisters and you start getting anaphylactic shock and they have to take you to the hospital to get treated, it's not going to be a beautiful tree. It's going to be the worst tree of your life. And you're going to hate it because it's going to take up like 4 hours of your time. Getting to the hospital, getting treated, all of that, coming home and nursing your wound and all. It's going to be horrible. So if you want to take a picture with the bad tree, take a picture with the bad tree from far away. It's not like if you just touch it, you're going to start dying or something. But because you don't know what it takes to start getting the reaction, just avoid the tree. Like, there's so many trees. There are thousands of trees in Barbados. You don't have to touch that one. Okay? So I just recommend that you avoid it. If a local tells you to avoid a tree, avoid a tree. Okay. So here's another way that I spot them. There's literally only one place in Barbados that I've gone to and I saw a tree like that I had to avoid. So I don't know whether it's common. If you're Bayesian and you know multiple kinds of poisonous trees, then let me know. But the one I saw was like a slender, it was a thin tree. It just grew long, very slim. I don't know how to explain it. And it was like light brown or something. Is it light brown? Light greenish brown tree. Yeah. Something like that anyway. But I've only seen it in one place. But another way I found out was every time I went back there, because I really liked that spot and I was living close to that place. It was near a beach. And I really liked that beach because I was living close to that place and I like the beaches near where I live. But anyway, anytime I went back to that place, I noticed that people would sit in the shades of other trees, and then instead of sitting under the shade of that poisonous tree, they would put an umbrella next to the tree and stay under the umbrella. So if you don't know, it looks like, well, there's a natural shade here. Why are people bringing their beach umbrellas? But when you realize that that natural shade is a natural one-way trip to the hospital, then you don't want the tree shade. So if you see people unnaturally avoiding a tree, it's sunny outside, the tree has shade, nobody wants the tree shade, or people seem to be making a small semicircle anytime they go past the tree. Instead of walking directly under the tree, they go outside the tree and then keep walking. Then look somewhere on the body of the tree. That tree is marked and there is something telling you about its poisonous or blister-causing properties, right? And then you avoid that tree for the rest of your stay in Barbados. Okay, so that's that. The next one is still related to this is number 7, still related to the beach. There are laws in Barbados against public nudity. So, there is not a single beach in Barbados that is a nudist beach. It doesn't exist. Yes, it doesn't. So don't do that. But more importantly, there are a lot of people that go to beaches in Barbados and then take their bikini self to restaurants in their bikinis. Don't do that. You know, many establishments will not even let you walk in like that, right? You have to be fully clothed. So people come to the island and they think, oh, there's this hotel and there's this restaurant and there's this office I need to go to and it's just next to the beach. So I can just quickly run into the place and then come back to the beach and I don't need to change. No, you need to change. You need to cover up. Okay? You need to wear decent clothing. You need to wear a top and a bottom before you go to establishments, right? So some establishments might not be too upfront about it, like stop you at the door or something like that. But there are some places in Barbados where they will spell it out. No bare backs, no bare feet. put on some clothes or whatever. They spell it out on the door, especially if those establishments are near the beach. Because there have been so many people that have come to Barbados and they just carry their bikini bottoms straight into establishments where families are eating and you just come half undressed. It's just weird. Don't be weird, right? There are laws against public nudity, and establishments usually, almost always, require you to put on some clothes before you come and do business with them. So if you just keep that in mind, the reason I'm saying this is because apparently it's not so common in some parts of the world. I heard a tourist one day complaining about how she had to go and do something at a post office, and they told her to leave and get dressed because she was wearing a bikini. And for me, I was like, it's a government building, it's a post office, and you thought they were just going to just do stuff with you in bra and panties? Like, it make it make sense. But I understand people come from different parts of the world, and these things are not normal to everybody, apparently. So that's why I'm including it here. So don't do it in Barbados. All right, number 8. This one is for your safety. Don't walk alone in dark, isolated places at night. Let me tell you, the country is safe. But like every safe country, there is somebody out there who is thinking, because the country is safe, people are not going to suspect me, so I will try something. There's always that one guy who is thinking about that. So don't give that one guy the opportunity to find you isolated in a dark place at night. The reason I'm saying this is because there's a lot of nightlife, especially in the south coast of Barbados, right? That Oistins, Hastings side of the island. There's a lot of nightlife around there. So people are always walking around, even at 9 p.m., sometimes 10 p.m. and so on, especially on Fridays. On Fridays, as late as 12 a.m., 1 a.m., you can see people walking there. But when you're walking in the night, make sure you're around establishments. Make sure you're around where the night life is, not where the night darkness is. Don't go and stay in dark places where there is no street light. There is no. Some people come to for example, Oistins Fish Fry. You go to Oistins Fish Fry, and instead of them to be where everybody else is at Oistins Fish Fry, they start walking towards the dark beach where there is no light, where there is no moonlight, no street lights, no lights from any business or establishment, and they just keep walking all by themselves, taking a leisurely walk on the beach. Please don't do that. You're going to make people, bad actors, look in your direction, and people have had their stuff stolen, like pickpockets and stuff like that. Don't be a victim because you were just being risky unnecessarily with your safety. Don't do that, right? Don't walk in dark, isolated places at night, on the beach, all of these things. Don't do it. All right. So, number 9. This one is for the people that like to have fun with their drinks. They like to mix everything they see and drink it. First of all, before you accept a drink from and this is especially at night, right? Before you accept a drink from someone, make sure you know who that someone is and you know what he has given you to drink. Unless you're buying it from an establishment, from a business. if a random person gives you something to drink, please, for the love of God, don't drink it. You need to know the person. This is how drinks work. I don't know why I need to say this, but there are people who go to places like Oysters Fish Fry or Bridgetown or Speightstown or Warren's, and a random person gives them a drink and you're like, oh, thanks. And they just drink it. Now, many times nothing happens, but that is one of the easiest ways to get yourself in trouble because anything could be in the drink. Anyway, back to what the point I was trying to make. There is this thing called rum punch. You may know about it. It's very famous. Rum punch is not the same as alcoholic beverage, right? People come from different parts of the world, and when they hear rum punch, they think, oh, rum is alcohol, and punch means that you're mixing it with some kind of fruit punch or something like that. No, rum punch is one of the strongest alcoholic drinks in the world combined with fruit punch. It's not just alcohol. When you hear alcohol, alcohol is usually 5% alcohol, 7% alcohol, 15% alcohol. Some crazy high alcohol is like 24%. Rum can be as high as 40, 60, 85, and even 94% alcohol. Right? So if you're thinking it's just alcohol, and this is the bad part. The people who think rum is just alcohol, they get rum punch and they chug it down like multiple, as if they're just drinking normal alcohol, and they drink like 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups, and they just no, don't do that. It's not just alcohol. The concentration of alcohol is so high that you can actually kill yourself doing that, right? There's so many people that end up vomiting. They pass out. They have a crazy hangover the next morning. It's if you don't know what rum is, take it slow. Better yet, avoid it. Do it gently, calmate, just softly, okay? Very softly. Don't just say, oh, my friends, it's rum, that's the kind of alcohol they drink in the Caribbean. No, it's very different to the normal alcohol you're used to outside the Caribbean. So, if you know rum, right? Fine. But if you don't know rum and you're just discovering it when you get to Barbados, it's a whole different monster compared to normal alcohol. Okay? This is just safety advice. Do with this information whatever you will. All right. The final one. Let me go through all 9 and then I'll tell you what the final one is. So I said don't come with weed. Don't wear camo. Cooperate with law enforcement. Don't disturb turtles' nests and they are young, so turtles young, because those are the most vulnerable and they like to walk around in confusing patterns, like they don't know where they're going. But don't touch them, right? Some people feel like, oh, they're so cute, they don't know where they're going, let me help them. No, don't touch them. Just let them be. They usually find their way eventually, right? Number 5, don't feed the wildlife. They get very aggressive. And it's usually people who are not from that area that cause the problem. Because everybody from that area knows if you feed these animals, they become aggressive. But then a tourist comes or a visitor comes and they're trying to be nice and they feed the animals. Then the animals become aggressive and disturb the locals when the tourist has gone back to his country. Don't do that. Number 6, beach safety. If you come during the hurricane season, watch out for those announcements. They're going to tell you the beach is not safe. When the government says the beach is not safe, it usually means it always means the beach is not safe. Don't swim in it, right? And then some remote parts or some other parts, I don't know, they're going to have those crazy trees. that cause blisters or poisonous or something. And well, technically, I don't know if you're actually going to die from one of them, but I know it's going to be ridiculously painful and it's going to take up your day or days to recover from that. So don't do it. Okay? All right. Then if somebody knows if you can actually die from those trees, please let me know in the comment section so that everybody else knows that they are deathly serious. But anyway, moving on. So there are laws against public nudity. What happens on the beach stays on the beach. Don't carry your bikini bottoms to establishments. Just cover up, wear some clothes, and then go and do business with people, right? Don't walk alone in the dark, isolated places at night. Don't do that. You're giving people opportunity to pickpocket or to harass you or whatever. It doesn't happen, but when it happens, usually when you see a news that something like that happens, it's always some crazy story like somebody was walking at 11:30 p.m. in a dark alley. So don't do that. Don't be that guy 11:30 p.m. in a dark alley getting pickpocketed or harassed, right? Those news, they always look very silly. You look very silly when that happens. Anyway, number 9, rum punch is not just alcohol punch. It's rum punch. And rum has very strong alcoholic content. It can go as low as 40, it can go as high as 94% alcohol, depending on what you're drinking, right? And it's going to be usually around that 60 mark, 40 to 60% alcohol, which is almost, if not triple, the highest alcoholic content that most people are used to. So it could mess you up seriously. And finally, assume good intention and show basic politeness. So in Barbados, there's this thing where a lot of people notice that when you come to the island, generally everything you're used to, Barbados has the good intentioned version of it. So, for example, you're used to people always cutting in front of you when driving. Like, people are always trying to cut in front of you, cut ahead of the line, cut. In Barbados, people are giving you way. So if you're coming out of a T-junction, it's common to see the car on the main road slowing down and waving at you to enter. You might even see like them flashing their lights at you so you can enter. Right? You see people giving way. Another thing is people are used to, if somebody honks at you, it's like they're angry at you or something. They honk to say, like, what are you doing? Don't be a crazy person. And that's why they're honking. But in Barbados, the most common use of honking is to greet people or to tell them thank you. Right? So you see people on the road and they go beep beep. And it's usually like hi, or if you let them in or if you let them get ahead of you in the line or something, they do beep beep like thanks. So there's this general goodness, niceness, ambience. People want to help you. If you need something, people actually want to help you. They're not just looking at you like, oh, look at this guy is stuck and he doesn't know what he's doing. They actually want to help you. You can ask people for things, ask someone for direction and whatever, and the person is actually going to want to help you. It exists. It is normal in Barbados, right? So when you enter into a room, and it's a small room, for example, and everybody turns and looks at you, you entered inside, it's nice to say something like, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. And they are going to all respond, good afternoon. And it's nice. If you just enter and you don't say anything, you look rude. Because everybody is used to just the general politeness and decorum and camaraderie in Barbados. So you just coming and being all stuck up and saying, I'm going to mind my own business, you look very rude. you look very rude. So don't do that. If I know in many countries, like I've heard stories about the United Kingdom where everybody minds their own business. And in fact, there are some people where if you start conversations with them, they are quite angry. I've heard stories about places like New York, for example, where everybody minds their own business. But in Barbados, there's this societal energy and societal living. Everybody looks after everybody. So general politeness is not just appreciated, it's actually expected. It's very welcome and expected for you to help people, for you to greet people, for you to be polite to people. All of those things is expected. All right. So I'm going to throw in one random one. This one it sounds rude when you say it, so don't say it. But I understand why you may want to say it when you first come to Barbados. So this is a bonus one for anybody who made it to the end of this video. When you come to Barbados, especially if you look Bayesian, and by look Bayesian I mean like because most of the people here are from African descent, right? So blacks. So if you're black, you generally are going to look like every other black Bayesian on the island, right? And if you come looking like you could be a Bayesian, even if you're white, depends on maybe the way you walk or the way you appear, or the person just thinks you're Bayesian, they're going to speak with their normal Bayesian accent, speaking Creole. It's mostly English, but there might be some slangs in there, or sometimes it will be complete English, but with the Bayesian accent, the hard, concentrated Bayesian accent. When you first hear this, especially if you haven't been exposed to Bayesian accent before coming here, when you first hear this, it will sound like a different language. Trust me. It will definitely sound like a different accent. You're going to hear, I received, when I first came to Barbados, I think that story is going to be for another video where I talk about Bayesian accents entirely, but I received direction from a police officer when I first got here. I was trying to get somewhere, and he gave me directions, and I kid you not, I didn't hear a single word, and he spoke like 3 to 5 sentences. I didn't understand a single word. Everything was in English. Every single thing, right? I could be talking now, and the interesting thing is that I don't know if Bayesians do this when they think you're Bayesian, because the moment they realize you're not Bayesian, something happens, the accent disappears, and now you can understand. It's almost like they change language, but no, they're still speaking the same English, but they do something, and now you have understanding of what they're saying, right? So why am I telling you this? Is that you may be tempted to ask the foreigner tourist visitor question that some people ask, which is, are you speaking English? Please don't ask that question. It sounds very rude. It sounds very insulted. Don't do that. Don't look at somebody in the face and ask, are you speaking English, in a country where they all speak English, right? What you're experiencing is you can't understand the accent. But I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 times, it is pure English without any slangs. Right? Sometimes it's even without any slangs. But it's just that the accent is quite difficult for foreigners to understand. And so it doesn't sound like English sometimes. Okay? So that's just the bonus one I wanted to tell you for those of you who might experience that shock, right? And like I said, if they find out that you're not Bayesian or you haven't been here long enough, they are going to switch. And once they switch, you'll understand everything. So if you find out that you're not understanding what they're saying, just say something like, "Oh, I'm not from here, I just got here. Could you please help me understand?" Or something. Just say something like that. And you will notice they'll say, "Oh." For me, it always starts with "oh." Or they'll say, "Oh, welcome. How do you like it here?" Something like they'll say something very polite, and then they'll start talking in a way that you can understand. But it's always funny the first time I see a visitor, because sometimes you see somebody who just came to Barbados and he's been here for just 1 week. And every time you go somewhere with him, you see the struggle on his face as he's trying to understand what is being said to him. But honestly, if you stay here for like a month and you interact, not even up to a month, like a week or 2 weeks, but it depends on how much you interact with locals, you're going to start understanding every single thing. As long as they speak to you in the same accent, right? If they keep changing their accent for you or helping you understand the more refined accent, then you're not going to have the normal Bayesian accent to practice with, and so you're not going to improve. But the more you hang out with locals and blend in as if you've been here for a long time, the more they use the normal Bayesian accent, and the more you get used to it, to the point where you can even start imitating it a little bit, and your conversations are going to be so much more enjoyable, because it's like you learn a new language when you learn the Bayesian accent. At least that's how it feels to me. It's like you learn a new language, right? And I'm still a beginner in the language. But if any one of you want to subscribe, now is the right time to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.